Welcome to Trending Unpacked, the show where we explore the stories behind what's buzzing online. Today, we're zeroing in on a name that's suddenly everywhere you look on social media, sparking memes, theories, and just a whole lot of conversation. Raja Jackson. You've probably scrolled past the name, seen it pop up in your feed, or maybe heard friends mention it, but do you really know the story behind the sudden, explosive rise of this digital personality? We're going to examine exactly how Raja Jackson became such a widespread phenomenon, what this tells us about internet fame in 2025, and, whether this is a fleeting moment or maybe the start of something much bigger. Get ready to connect the dots and understand why this trend isn't just noise, but actually a pretty significant cultural signal. So let's jump right into this fascinating case. Raja Jackson. It's one of those names that feels both entirely new and also strangely familiar, almost like it's been woven into the fabric of the internet overnight. In 2025, this name has truly become synonymous with a kind of trending, viral omnipresence across, pretty much every major social media platform. You scroll for 5 minutes on TikTok, refresh your X feed or Instagram stories, and boom, there it is again. But here's the kicker. Raja Jackson isn't just a person in the traditional sense. It's become a personality, a concept, almost a whole universe of associated content. We're talking about everything from elaborate fan edits set to dramatic music to laugh out loud commentary threads dissecting every perceived nuance. And of course, that ever-present wide fan speculation that just rushes to fill in the gaps where concrete information might be scarce. It's like celebrity built not on traditional PR, but on collective imagination.
What's truly intriguing here, and something that definitely distinguishes Raja Jackson's ascent, is that we're not discussing a mainstream celebrity in the traditional sense at all. This isn't someone who emerged from Hollywood studios or major record labels or elite sports agencies, complete with a publicist, a carefully managed image, and this meticulously crafted brand narrative. Raja Jackson, as our sources seem to indicate, is a figure who has risen purely through what we might call the virality pipeline of social media. And this is a really crucial distinction in understanding modern fame. Traditional celebrities often have years of established work, a carefully guarded public persona, and a massive industry machine behind them, aiming to control their narrative. Their fame is, to a large extent, orchestrated and often very top-down.
That's a profound difference, isn't it? When you think about old school talent scouting or public relations, it's a very controlled, almost funnel-like process. A studio invests in someone, cultivates their image over time, sends them on press tours, carefully curates every single appearance. But with Raja Jackson, it feels completely different, totally organic. It's almost like a bottom-up explosion that bypasses all those traditional gatekeepers. Could you elaborate a bit on how this virality pipeline fundamentally differs from that old model?
It's a complete paradigm shift.
Yeah.
The virality pipeline is inherently decentralized, and crucially, it's audience-driven. So instead of a handful of industry gatekeepers deciding who gets famous, it's the collective attention, the creative input, and the spontaneous amplification of millions of individual users that are the primary engines. Imagine it as a kind of self-propelling digital engine. Initial engagement from maybe a small group triggers algorithmic amplification, which then encourages countless more users to create their own spin, whether that's a reaction video, a meme, or just a commentary thread. And this then feeds back into the system, creating this rapid, almost autonomous cycle of spread. This means the origin of the fame can be more obscure, the narrative more fragmented, and the persona itself more fluid and really open to interpretation. It's less about a singular polished individual and more about a name or an image that resonates broadly enough to be adopted, recontextualized, and amplified by the internet itself. This creates a kind of fame that is incredibly rapid, often unpredictable, and can sometimes feel almost accidental in how it just erupts.
And rapid truly is the operative word when we talk about how Raja Jackson first gained attention. This wasn't a slow burn over months or even years. The popularity surged quickly. Suddenly, it just seemed like the name appeared on everyone's radar, seemingly overnight, rocketing from maybe niche circles to widespread recognition. And the primary platforms where this phenomenon exploded were, unsurprisingly, TikTok and X, formerly Twitter.
The usual suspects.
Exactly. These platforms, with their unique algorithmic architectures and user engagement patterns, really became the fertile breeding ground for this particular trend. It's almost like they were perfectly designed for something like this to happen.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit further then. What exactly makes these particular content modalities, these edits, reaction clips, and humorous takes, what makes them so incredibly effective for virality on platforms like TikTok and X? What is it about their design that just captures attention so quickly and compels people to not just watch, but actually participate?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture of how these platforms function, TikTok's short-form video format is essentially designed for immediate visceral engagement and really rapid consumption. Its For You page algorithm is incredibly adept at identifying and pushing trending content to vast, diverse audiences, even those far outside a user's usual sphere of interest. It effectively creates these viral loops.
X, on the other hand, thrives on quick text-based reactions, quote tweets, endless threads. It turns every piece of content into an opportunity for more commentary, debate, and immediate resharing. So both platforms fundamentally reward brevity, emotional impact, and crucially, shareability. The content modalities themselves, these edits, reaction clips, humorous takes, they're perfectly engineered for this environment. Edits, for instance, are often visually dynamic, tightly cut, frequently set to trending audio. This allows creators to splice together existing material in new, captivating ways. They can highlight specific perceived traits or moments, or even create entirely new narratives around Raja Jackson.
Right, they build the story themselves.
Exactly. And reaction clips tap into our inherent human need for social validation and shared experience. Seeing someone react in a relatable or funny way validates our own feelings or introduces us to new perspectives. And humorous takes, of course, are a near universal currency of the internet. They make content memorable, disarming, and incredibly shareable, often regardless of its original context. These formats significantly reduce the barrier to both creation and consumption. They transform passive viewers into active participants and amplifiers. It's a genius system for collective content generation, really.
That makes so much sense because it's not just about passively watching. It's about doing something with what you watch. It's about creating, about reacting, about contributing. And that act of creation by the audience is what truly propelled Raja Jackson. We saw name recognition spreading far beyond any original niche audience where it might have first started. It went from like a specific corner of the internet, perhaps a subculture or a particular online community, to basically everyone's main feed, infiltrating conversations across demographics. This feels like a modern form of cultural osmosis, doesn't it?
It really does.
And this leads us directly into the reactions and interpretations because the internet's dialogue around Raja Jackson is just as diverse, complex, and sometimes, well, chaotic as the content itself. We've already mentioned the incredible range, from deeply earnest fan edits celebrating a perceived icon to satirical memes and outright mockery. But what's truly crucial here, and maybe somewhat unsettling, is that this content is often detached from the original source. Think about that for a moment. People are creating, sharing, and reacting without necessarily having the full picture, or in many cases, even any verifiable picture, of what Raja Jackson originally was or represented. It's almost like a game of digital telephone, but with each retelling adding these new layers of collective meaning.
And this raises a profoundly important question for our digital age. What happens when content becomes so utterly detached from its original source? The implications for understanding and interpreting viral phenomena are, well, immense. When context is lost or ignored, the internet doesn't simply cease to engage. It actively and collectively fills in those gaps. This can lead to a kind of collective mythology being spontaneously built around a name or persona.
Yeah.
People project their own ideas, their hopes, their anxieties, their humor, or even their cynicism onto the figure. This inherent ambiguity, this lack of a clear, singular, or easily traceable origin story, actually fuels what our sources describe as the mystique of the name itself. It becomes an invitation for interpretation, almost like a Rorschach test for online culture.
It's absolutely fascinating how that mystique plays out. It's almost like the name Raja Jackson is just a blank canvas. There's an evocative quality to it, isn't there? Whether it's the sound, a particular rhythm, an unusual but memorable combination of familiar elements, or just the sheer novelty of it appearing everywhere without a clear explanation. And because there isn't a universally known definitive origin story, people feel an almost irresistible urge to invent one, or at least to project their own understanding and narrative onto it. This is precisely what encourages them to repeat and share without necessarily knowing the full backstory. It's less about verifying information and more about participating in a shared cultural moment, even if that moment is kind of built on speculation.
Precisely. The internet thrives on this kind of collective narrative construction. In the absence of definitive information, human curiosity, combined with the innate urge to participate, drives people to create their own context. This means the Raja Jackson persona isn't static. It's constantly being redefined, reinterpreted, and even reinvented by its audience in real time. This dynamic, often contradictory interpretation is what leads to the polarized debates we observe online. Some users are driven by genuine hype, celebrating the phenomenon for its pure, exhilarating viral energy, seeing it as an emergent star. Others engage in mockery, perhaps finding the trend absurd, maybe manufactured, or questioning its authenticity. And a significant portion, as our source highlights, are simply driven by pure, unadulterated curiosity, actively trying to unravel the enigma. It's a vivid reflection of the multifaceted and often contradictory nature of online public opinion, where a single name can simultaneously represent vastly different things to different communities. It's like a collective, distributed storytelling engine at work.
So, if we're truly going to decode the why behind Roger Jackson's unexpected ascent, we have to look beyond the surface and delve into some underlying internet theories and cultural interpretations. One concept that immediately leaps out from our sources is what's being called the internet idol effect.
Hmm.
This theory suggests that people don't just passively observe a trending name or persona like Roger Jackson. They actively latch onto it and then amplify it, often with significant gusto, even without full context. The individual or the name essentially transforms into a symbol of being iconic.
Hmm. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. It makes me think of something like, remember the "Is this a pigeon?"
Oh,
meme?
yeah, the butterfly.
Exactly, that iconic panel from an old anime where a character points to a butterfly and asks, "Is this a pigeon?" A simple phrase and image becomes universally understood, a symbol of misidentification or maybe profound confusion, even if you don't know the exact anime it's from. Is that a good parallel for how Raja Jackson becomes a symbol of being iconic, like a sort of empty vessel for collective online sentiment? That is an absolutely brilliant and incredibly apt analogy.
Yeah.
It perfectly illustrates the psychological and sociological underpinnings of this internet idol effect. People are inherently social creatures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the online world, this translates into a powerful desire for shared cultural touchstones and abundant opportunities for collective participation. The internet idol effect taps into several fundamental human needs. First, there's the need for belonging. By engaging with a trending persona like Raja Jackson, by sharing the memes, by participating in the discussions, you effectively signal that you're in the know, that you're part of the current cultural conversation, part of the zeitgeist.
You're relevant.
You're relevant, exactly.
Yeah.
Second, it offers a remarkably accessible outlet for creativity. The persona of Raja Jackson truly becomes that empty vessel you mentioned, that blank canvas into which users can pour their own humor, their artistry, their commentary, their interpretations. It's like a collaborative art project.
Right.
Third, and perhaps more subtly, there's a potent sense of agency. In an online world, teeming with information overload, latching onto and amplifying a persona, even without full context, gives users a tangible feeling of actively shaping the online landscape. It's a low-effort, high-impact way to contribute to a larger shared narrative. This isn't necessarily about people being manipulative or disingenuous. More often, it's an authentic expression of engagement and a profound desire to participate in the collective moment. The fact that the persona ultimately becomes a symbol of being iconic suggests that the act of making something viral and the shared recognition of that virality becomes a form of cultural currency in itself. Ultimately, the internet idol effect reveals a fundamental power shift. Fame is no longer just bestowed from on high, it's co-created and projected by the collective, turning individuals into mirrors for our shared online desires and anxieties.
And part of that elevation, part of what makes it so incredibly effective, truly comes down to its sheer mimetic qualities. We've already touched on the mystique of the name itself. Is it just catchy? Is it unique enough to stand out in a crowded feed, but not so obscure that it's unpronounceable or forgettable? Like, what are those key ingredients that make Raja Jackson so endlessly repeatable and shareable?
Absolutely. The name itself is undeniably the first crucial ingredient. A truly mimetic name often possesses a certain phonetic rhythm or visual distinctiveness. Raja Jackson strikes a remarkable balance.
Yeah.
It's memorable, it kind of rolls off the tongue with a certain gravitas.
Yeah, it does.
And it has an inherent intrigue that instantly sparks curiosity. It's easy to repeat, which, as any linguist or marketer will tell you, is absolutely fundamental to a meme's successful spread. But beyond the inherent qualities of the name, it's profoundly about the adaptability of the content it inspires. As we discussed, the content isn't just one static image or video that gets passed around. It's edits, reaction clips, humorous takes. These are inherently flexible, modular formats. This adaptability means that the core idea or name can be endlessly reinterpreted, personalized, and applied to new situations. You can take the name Raja Jackson and attach it to virtually any situation, any emotion, any pop culture reference, any trending audio, any relatable experience. This capacity for infinite variations and personalized interpretations is precisely what fuels sharing. People don't just share because they like it. They share because they can add to it. They can make it theirs. They can inject their own creativity and humor into the phenomenon. This also significantly lowers the barrier to entry for participation. You don't need to be a professional content creator with expensive software to make a simple meme or a reaction clip. Anyone with a phone and a basic editing app can contribute,
Right. Anyone can jump in.
widening the circle of participation exponentially and accelerating the trend's growth at an astonishing rate. This accessibility, This ability for endless, decentralized recreation while still retaining a core recognizable identity is what differentiates a simple fleeting trend from a truly mimetic phenomenon.
So, this brings us to the ultimate million-dollar question everyone's asking. What's the future impact here? Is Raja Jackson just a fleeting meme, destined to fade into the endless scroll of internet history, becoming another forgotten curiosity in the digital archives? Or is this the stepping stone to something much bigger, a genuine future star poised for lasting cultural impact? Our sources show the internet debates definitely split into these two very divergent paths. And as you're listening, what stands out to you? Which path seems more likely and why, based on your own observations of internet culture? I find myself going back and forth on this, honestly.
It's a compelling dilemma, truly the make-or-break moment for any viral sensation. Some, as the source notes, see Raja Jackson as a potential breakout figure. This perspective often arises when people observe an underlying charisma, maybe a unique aesthetic, a compelling narrative, or a genuine connection with the audience that seems to transcend the initial, often superficial viral moment. If Raja Jackson were to strategically leverage this immense virality, it could involve calculated moves into more traditional media, perhaps securing commercial endorsements with major brands, or developing a more defined and original creative output, maybe music, acting, or a distinct brand enterprise. The sheer scale of the attention is undeniably a powerful asset, a ready-made audience that many established figures would envy, a potential launching pad for a sustained career.
Sure, the potential is huge.
However, the counter-argument is equally, if not more, potent. Others view it as a fleeting meme destined to fade. The internet, as we know, is a notoriously fickle beast, and its attention economy operates at breakneck speed, constantly demanding novelty. Many viral sensations, despite their explosive beginnings, lack a clear original context or a sustained, definable talent that can effectively transition beyond the initial novelty. The very thing that makes them so mimetic, their adaptability, their detachability from a singular origin, can paradoxically be their undoing. It makes it incredibly difficult to establish a stable, long-term, and uniquely identifiable brand or identity. Without a deeper, more resonant why, or a continuous stream of authentic, high-quality, original content, that rapid attention often dissipates as quickly as it arrived, swiftly replaced by the next shiny new thing.
Yeah, the next Raja Jackson, essentially.
Exactly. The secret sauce for achieving longevity in the digital age, for transitioning from a viral moment to sustained fame, often involves a complex combination of factors. It's rarely just about the initial virality. It requires, critically, an authentic voice, a clear narrative that can evolve organically, a strategic understanding of how to bridge the gap between ephemeral niche internet culture and broader public appeal, and crucially, an ability to convert fleeting attention into deep, sustained engagement. Many viral figures struggle precisely because the immense pressure of living up to the internet's collective projection can be utterly overwhelming. And attempting to control a narrative that was largely built by others is an almost impossible Sisyphean task. It's a real tightrope walk between maintaining that mystique and revealing enough substance to maintain interest.
It's an absolutely fascinating tightrope walk, isn't it? One that very few manage to navigate successfully. Which brings us to the broader implications of Raja Jackson, because this trend really says a tremendous amount about the nature of internet fame in 2025. One of the most glaring and almost breathtaking takeaways is the sheer speed of creation. The internet can now manufacture mini-celebrities at lightning speed, almost faster than we as observers can keep track or even fully comprehend. It truly makes you stop and think about how profoundly different this entire landscape is from even just a decade ago. It wasn't that long ago that fame felt so much more centrally controlled, so much more curated, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Now it's almost as if the internet itself has become its own talent agency, its own production studio, and its own PR firm, all rolled into one dynamic, unpredictable, and constantly evolving entity. It's democratized the path to visibility in ways we couldn't have imagined.
You're absolutely spot on. This accelerated timeline means that the traditional pathways to fame are not merely being modified, they are being dramatically rewritten in real time. What once took years of consistent effort, gatekeeper approval, extensive networking, and strategic marketing can now genuinely happen in a matter of days or weeks through what appears to be purely organic virality. This creates both immense opportunity for previously overlooked talents and significant, often crushing challenges for content creators who are under constant, relentless pressure to catch or even instigate the next wave. It's a dizzying, high-stakes game. What's equally significant and perhaps more culturally transformative is the concept of context-independent virality. Fame can now be generated, as we've seen with Raja Jackson, even when the content itself is detached from the original source and when people share without necessarily knowing the full backstory. This represents a profound, almost tectonic shift. Historically, fame was often built on a foundation of established work, a clear narrative, a known identity, a demonstrable talent.
Right. You know why they were famous.
Exactly. Now, fame can literally precede substance. It's built on shared resonance, on a collective feeling, on an inside joke, or a momentary aesthetic appeal, rather than necessarily deep knowledge or admiration of an individual's specific achievements. This points to a new kind of fame, one built primarily on collective participation and instantaneous emotional connection, rather than a fully formed, logically consistent persona. It's a fascinating experiment in communal celebrity construction. And this brings us to the extraordinary power of the audience as creator and amplifier. The audience is no longer just passively consuming content or waiting to be told who is famous. They are actively shaping, recontextualizing, and amplifying these figures. They are, in essence, the very engine of the virality pipeline. This fundamentally democratizes fame to an unprecedented extent, giving ordinary users immense, almost instantaneous power to elevate anyone or anything into the spotlight. This shift has profound impacts on traditional media, which often struggles to understand or incorporate these rapidly emerging, often contextless phenomena into their established frameworks. It also impacts our collective understanding of who or what is truly important, as virality itself can increasingly become a primary proxy for significance, for better or worse.
And this rapid-fire creation cycle, as you say, leads directly into a broader and perhaps more sobering cultural commentary. The internet's cycle of creation and abandonment. It's not just that the internet creates icons with astonishing speed, it also moves on from new icons just as fast, almost ruthlessly. It's like an endless carousel that never stops spinning, perpetually demanding novelty and fresh stimulation.
This relentless, insatiable demand for novelty is the defining hallmark of the attention economy. In an environment saturated with an almost unimaginable volume of information, the value of human attention skyrockets, and the internet rewards whatever is new, surprising, or highly engaging in the immediate moment. Figures like Roger Jackson vividly illustrate how quickly that coveted iconic label can be applied.
Yeah, that word gets thrown around a lot.
It really does. It's often bestowed without a long history of artistic output, without decades of cultural impact, or even without a clearly defined, stable persona. This raises critical questions about what iconic truly means in 2025. Does it become a devalued term, deleted by its rapid application? Or is it simply being redefined to mean momentarily significant within the ever-shifting digital zeitgeist? The collective power of internet users is undeniably potent, both for good and at times with less desirable consequences. Roger Jackson's rise is a powerful, almost stark illustration of how the internet can collectively decide what and who gets attention. This communal validation drives engagement, pushing a name from utter obscurity to ubiquity within a matter of days. But the inverse is also chillingly true. That same collective attention can just as swiftly move on, abandoning its previous idol, leaving behind a digital footprint that may or may not translate into any lasting impact or meaningful career. This raises an important question. What is the true shelf life of internet fame in this accelerated ecosystem? And what does that mean for individuals, often unprepared, caught in its blinding spotlight? Do these mini celebrities leave any lasting cultural impact? Or are they largely just digital ephemera, fleeting flashes in the pan, quickly forgotten as the next trend emerges? It speaks to a culture that constantly seeks stimulation, creates ephemeral idols, and then, with equal swiftness, abandons them in pursuit of the next new thing, profoundly impacting our collective memory and reshaping the very nature of celebrity itself. We're left to wonder if these fleeting moments are building blocks for a new cultural canon, or just temporary distractions in an infinitely scrollable feed.
So, Raja Jackson isn't just a name or a fleeting viral moment. It's a truly fascinating case study in how internet fame operates in 2025, a world of rapid amplification, collective, often context-independent interpretation, and a surprising, sometimes brutal, detachment from original context. It leaves you wondering, are we witnessing a true star in the making, one who can transcend the chaos of virality, or just another fleeting moment in the ever-spinning carousel of online trends? What does this mean for the next viral sensation waiting in the wings, and maybe more importantly, for how we consume and create culture online? Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Raja Jackson. Next time on Trending Unpacked, we'll be looking at the viral world of Labubu, the quirky collectible character that's captured global attention.